Let's have a look now at utilizing copy and OTRACK on our drawing to tidy up our gasket drawing. Now we're going to use the copy selection command, not copy like on a Windows clipboard type copy. We're also going to utilize OTRACK to move some objects around on the drawing exactly using our object snaps. Now previously we created a hexagon and a circle to represent nuts and bolts going through our gasket. Now we're going to copy those using copy selection, and we're going to utilize object snaps as the points to move them around with as well. So we need to put our hexagon and our circle into a selection set to allow us to use the copy selection command. Now it is quicker to select the objects first, like this. So hover over the polyline that forms the hexagon, click on it, and you'll see the grips appear. Hover over the circle that forms the other part of the nut and bolt there, and click on that, and you'll also see the grips appear. So those two objects now are in what is known as a selection set. Now I've got two options in front of me now. I can go up to the Home tab on the ribbon, go to the Modify panel, and use Copy Selection here, or I can just right-click on the mouse, and on the shortcut menu, notice the icon is the same, Copy Selection. Either one will execute the same command. So click on Copy Selection there. Prompts you for a base point that you are copying from. Not to, but from. So I'm going to copy from the center of the nut and bolt there using the intersection of those two construction lines. It's an endpoint snap right now, that's fine. As soon as the object snap appears, left click. And you'll see now that my circle and my hexagon are on my crosshair waiting to be copied. I then hover here over this endpoint and left click. AutoCAD defaults to copy multiple, so I can copy now using each intersection of the construction lines and get a nut and bolt in each corner like that. Once I've done all four, including the original, I press enter. That's your copy selection command. Now, object snap tracking. We created a rectangular slot here to go in the gasket. Now what we need to do now is we need to bring that down here underneath the hole, the larger hole in the gasket there. Now I'm going to utilize my object snap tracking to do this, but first I need to select the object I want to move. So I hover over the rectangle, when it highlights I left click on it. And again I can just right click, and on the shortcut menu there I can select move there instead of going up to the ribbon and the modify panel. So I need a base point now to move my rectangle. I need the midpoint snap there. So make sure on your object snaps, right click, check that midpoint is on. It is in my case. So I hover over that midpoint there. Now, do I want to click on that? Yes, I do. When that midpoint snap appears, I click because I want to move that rectangle using the midpoint of that top edge. Then my object snap tracking kicks in, my OTRACK. I'm going to hover now over this point here, the center of that circle and hexagon, or the intersection of those two yellow construction lines. Once I've hovered there, as I drag along, you can see the green crosshair that's been left there, the object snap tracking point. As I come further along, can you see it lock in there, like that, vertically below the bigger circle? If I now left click, I've placed that rectangle exactly from the center of the circle here in line with those construction lines. So it's dead central. It's directly below, so I don't need to worry about accuracy there. So I've now got my rectangular slot, my large circular hole, and I've also got the positions of my nuts and bolts marked on my gasket. Obviously the circle there represents the hole in the gasket, the hexagon represents the nut and bolt. So I've now finished there using copy selection and OTRACK to create my gasket.